The UFC Apex in Las Vegas is where careers are made or broken, a proving ground where only the toughest and most determined fighters can rise above the rest. Under the bright lights and roaring crowd, every moment counts, and every fight can change the trajectory of an athlete's life. On August 9th, 2025, anticipation filled the air as the co-main event of UFC Vegas 109 promised fireworks. The stakes couldn't have been higher, with both fighters knowing that a win could launch them toward title contention, while a loss could set them back for years. In one corner stood Steve "Astro Boy" Erceg, a former title challenger with everything to prove. After a string of tough losses, Erceg was desperate to silence the doubters and show the world that he still belonged among the flyweight elite. His eyes burned with determination as he warmed up backstage, visualizing victory and redemption. Across from him, Ode, the Jamaican sensation Osbourne, stepped into the spotlight on short notice, eager to seize the opportunity. Hungry to make a statement, Osbourne knew that a win tonight could catapult him up the rankings and put his name on everyone's lips. The pressure was immense, but so was his confidence. This was a classic clash of styles. Erceg's relentless grappling and submission skills against Osbourne's explosive knockout power and unpredictable striking. Fans and analysts alike debated which approach would prevail, adding to the tension in the arena. The atmosphere was electric as both fighters made their walk to the octagon, the crowd buzzing with excitement. Every step, every glance, every heartbeat was amplified as they prepared to put everything on the line. Both men carried the weight of their careers on their shoulders, knowing that this fight could define their futures. As the referee brought them together for final instructions, the tension was palpable. The question on everyone's mind was clear. Would it be Erceg's relentless ground game, or Osbourne's explosive striking that would define this pivotal moment in their careers? The stage was set for an unforgettable battle. For Steve Erceg, this fight was more than just another bout. It was a crossroads, a defining moment that would shape the trajectory of his entire career. Every fighter faces a point where the stakes feel impossibly high, and for Erceg, this was it. He entered the octagon burdened by a 3-fight losing streak, his confidence shaken after falling from a title shot to back-to-back defeats against top contenders. The weight of expectation pressed down on him, and the whispers of doubt grew louder with each setback. The UFC is unforgiving, and a 4th straight loss could mean the end of his run in the world's premier MMA organization. In a sport where opportunities are rare and second chances even rarer, Erceg knew he was fighting not just for a win, but for his future. Erceg needed to prove to himself and the world that he could still compete at the highest level. The pressure to silence critics and remind everyone of his talent was immense. This was about survival, redemption, and reclaiming his place among the flyweight elite. Every round, every exchange was a test of his resilience and heart. The pressure was immense, both personally and professionally. Friends, family, and fans all watched, hoping to see the fighter they once believed could be champion. A win would reset his narrative, showing that his recent losses were against the best, not a sign of decline. It would be a statement that he still belonged among the division's elite. For Erceg, this was a fight to save his career and restore his reputation. It was a chance to remind himself, and everyone else, of the fighter he truly is. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Every second in the cage was a battle against doubt, against fear, and against the possibility of fading into obscurity. Everything was on the line. For Steve Erceg, this was more than a fight. It was a fight for his legacy, his pride, and his future in the sport he loves. The opening bell saw Osbourne explode forward, using his speed and reach to keep Erceg at bay. Osbourne's jab and straight punches landed clean, forcing Erceg onto the defensive. Midway through the round, Osbourne timed a perfect check-right hook, dropping Erceg hard to the canvas. The crowd gasped. Erceg was in serious trouble. Osbourne swarmed, looking for the finish, but Erceg's instincts took over. Hurt and dazed, Erceg dove for a desperate takedown, clinging to survival. The round ended in a wild scramble, with Erceg threatening Osbourne's back, but unable to secure control. Osbourne's knockdown and striking dominance made it a clear 10-9 round in his favour. Erceg was in a deep hole early, but he'd survived the storm. The fight was far from over. The question, could Erceg recover and turn the tide? The first-round knockdown was a make-or-break moment for Erceg. Rocked and reeling, he relied on his grappling instincts, shooting for a takedown to escape Osbourne's onslaught. This decision showcased the difference between a good fighter and an elite one. Erceg knew his strengths and played to them under pressure. In the scramble, he managed to threaten Osbourne's back, even while hurt. Though Osbourne powered out, Erceg had bought himself precious time to recover. Surviving that round was a moral victory, proving his resilience and fight IQ. As he returned to his corner, Erceg had weathered the worst and gathered valuable intel on Osbourne's tendencies. The knockdown was a setback, but his survival set the stage for a comeback. The fight's momentum was shifting. Erceg was still in it, and now he had a plan. Erceg's corner urged him to abandon striking and focus on his grappling. He came out in round 2 with renewed purpose, pressing forward and relentlessly hunting for takedowns. Osbourne defended well at first, but Erceg's pressure began to sap his energy. The threat of the takedown slowed Osbourne's striking, making the exchanges more competitive. Erceg managed to land a brief takedown and take Osbourne's back in a scramble, controlling the action even without a finish. These moments scored points and drained Osbourne's gas tank. The fight was now a tense back-and-forth battle, with Erceg dictating the pace. The momentum was shifting. Erceg was clawing his way back. The second round was close, but Erceg's control was making a difference. The stage was set for a decisive final round. The comeback was on. The second round became a grueling chess match, just as Erceg wanted. Every takedown attempt forced Osbourne to work, draining his explosive energy. Erceg mixed up his attacks, driving Osbourne to the cage, landing short knees and dirty boxing in the clinch. Osbourne's punches lost their pop as he tired, and Erceg's relentless pressure kept him uncomfortable. Erceg's intelligence shone. He wasn't just shooting blindly, but setting traps and scoring with control. By round's end, Erceg had taken Osbourne out of his comfort zone and into deep waters. The judges saw a fighter imposing his will. The fight was now on Erceg's terms. The momentum had clearly shifted. Everything would come down to the final round. With the fight likely tied, the third round was do or die. Osbourne came out swinging, landing a hard right, but Erceg absorbed it and stuck to his plan. He shot for a takedown and secured it cleanly, Osbourne's defense weakened by fatigue. Erceg advanced to mount, raining down ground and pound, then took Osbourne's back with a body triangle. For most of the round, Erceg controlled Osbourne, threatening submissions and landing strikes. Osbourne fought valiantly, but Erceg's grappling was suffocating. Even when Osbourne escaped, Erceg dragged him back down, dominating until the final bell. The third round was all Erceg, relentless, technical and decisive. He had survived the early storm and imposed his will. The comeback was complete. It was a masterclass in resilience and strategy. In his post-fight interview, Erceg was candid about the adversity he faced. He credited Osbourne's power and takedown defense, admitting the fight was tougher than expected. Erceg emphasized his resilience, saying he wanted to prove his toughness after 3 straight losses. Surviving the knockdown and rallying back showed his heart and mental fortitude. He highlighted the importance of control in the second round, knowing it was key to swaying the judges. Erceg's strategic thinking under pressure was crucial to his victory. This wasn't a flashy finish, but a hard-earned win forged through grit and intelligence. Erceg had walked through fire and refused to break. His mature reflections showed a fighter who had grown stronger from adversity. This win was more than just a number in the column for Steve Erceg. It was a career reset. For Astro Boy, it marked a turning point, a moment where all the hard work, sacrifice, and belief in himself finally paid off. The victory wasn't just about breaking a streak. It was about proving to himself and the world that he could rise above adversity and come back stronger. Snapping a 3-fight skid against elite competition, Erceg proved he still belonged among the best. Each loss had been a lesson, and this win showed he'd learned from every setback. The pressure of the losing streak was immense, but Erceg's resilience and focus allowed him to push through and deliver when it mattered most. The nature of his victory, overcoming adversity, adjusting strategy, and dominating late, earned him respect from fans and UFC brass alike. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. Erceg demonstrated not only physical toughness but also the mental fortitude required to compete at the highest level. He re-established himself as a top contender, reminding everyone of his dangerous grappling and fight IQ. His ability to adapt mid-fight and capitalize on his opponent's weaknesses showed just how much he's grown as a fighter. With the losing streak behind him, Erceg can now look forward to bigger opportunities and another run at the title. The win has opened doors, and his confidence is at an all-time high. He's no longer fighting to prove he belongs, he's fighting to become champion. His performance put the flyweight division on notice. Astro Boy is back, tougher and smarter than ever. Rivals are now aware that Erceg is a threat, and every contender will have to prepare for a new, improved version of him. The pressure is gone, replaced by momentum and renewed confidence. Erceg's team and fans can finally celebrate, knowing that their fighter has overcome one of the toughest stretches of his career. Erceg's heart, skill, and determination have set the stage for a new chapter. He's training harder than ever, motivated by the taste of victory and the promise of what's to come. The future is bright for the Australian contender. With his country behind him and a renewed sense of purpose, Erceg is ready to take on the world. The comeback is real, and the division should beware. Astro Boy has returned, and he's hungrier than ever to claim his place at the top.